Hello and welcome back to Cozy News Corner for week 13 of 2026. And today we're going to start with, as usual, a couple of vulnerabilities. So the first one out here is Bookworm Bind 9 has a critical ACL bypass denial of service vulnerability. So go in and upgrade your bind protocol because bind is fairly essentials when it comes to DNS. Next up we have the Ruby Rack, which is a critical XSS directory traversal, so you can actually use cross-site scripting to get to somewhere and extract information that you shouldn't be able to do. And last but not least, we have Thunderbird that has a critical info leak and code execution problem, and for an email client that is not good, of course. And we also have libXML parser Perl, which has a heap overflow issue. So if you are running XML from external resources, then we could have a heap overflow here, which wouldn't be that great. Next up, some news. We are talking about Firefox 149, which is now available for download, and it now has split view. And I really hate split view because I got it in Chrome a couple of months back, and every time I click on a link and happen to move my cursor just a little bit to the right or the left, it splits the view. So I found how to actually turn it off in appearances in Chrome, so I don't do that anymore. But for people that likes it, well, it's a new feature. I have also added hardware acceleration to process and also display render PDFs, which is really nice. And you can now download images directly from within a PDF, which is pretty cool. Next up we have also the Linux systems. Firefox now also have the XDG portal file picker, and that is of course a difference depending on which operating system we were using before. It also has a built-in improved spell checking feature and making it much easier to add your own dictionaries. And we also have reduced power usage when you are using full screen video playback. And last but not least, we have a built-in VPN for browser traffic. So that is, of course, a little bit of a nail in those countries where they are adding age restriction, and now you have a VPN that you can go out from a country and perhaps circumvent that. So that is interesting. Next up, we have Light LLM on PyPy is now compromised, and this is something that is used by a lot of different tooling. I'm currently looking into OpenLegion a little bit. Suddenly doesn't work. It doesn't work at all with local models. So I'm still looking into that and trying to get it to work. But within this Light LLM, you have both credential stealing attacks that need to be fixed. Extract a wide variety of information. It could extract SSH keys, credentials for numbers of different cloud services, and crypto wallets. So if you have this version of 1.82.8, then upgrade. And then we have Thunderbird, also 149, and it brings a lot of new features here. We have the users can now export their own address books or a selected address book. You can now correctly display reasons for revoking a particular certificate, and we also have OpenPGP signed messages and encrypted Gmail messages using client-side encryption with SMIME. So this is really cool because I was trying to get OpenPGP to work just to sign my messages and so on. Before, you had to add an extra plugin, and that was a hassle. It didn't work all the time. You had to tell it to encrypt or sign extra for every email that you send. I would much rather be one setting saying, okay, always sign all my messages so everyone knows that the message came from me. And last but not least, they have also fixed a bug where EVS messages failed to sync. And now we come to the age verification issue. And this is something that we are talking about every week, and I think it's getting a little bit ridiculous. So now the developers have merged the pull request with this adding birth date, and of course somebody went out and forked systemd to strip this out. So in some operating systems you don't have this now. Systemd itself does nothing with this data. It's just an extra field that somebody that implements these features could use, but somebody didn't like this, so they liberated systemd, which is a fork of the main line, which just was started by Jeffrey Seetham Sardana. And the project is very straightforward on its purpose, and by stripping out this, that it considers surveillance-enabled code. So their quote, "Mass surveillance is bad, actually." So here's a fork of systemd with enablement removed, which will be kept up to date with other changes in the systemd main. However, you use this or do not is your choice and yours alone. And there have been a lot of civil disagreement, and Dylan revealed when it was faced by Dylan, one of the developers on systemd, was faced with harassment, doxing, death threats, and a flood of hate mail. And his response to all of this was, a common misconception about the change is that it introduces age verification to Linux. It does not. None of the PR I submitted invoked ID checks, facial recognition, or third-party verification services. You can enter any value, including January the 1st, 1990. So it's not an age verification system, it's just an extra field that you could use if you want to. And then we have another Linux operating system called Garuda. And they say no to verification, and the project's infrastructure is located in Finland and Germany. So their response was, Garuda Linux will not implement any age verification measures since Garuda Linux legal jurisdiction have no laws mandating age verification. And then we have a response from Grafana OS that will remain usable by anyone around the world without requiring personal information, identification, or an account. Grafana OS and other services will remain available international if Grafana OS devices can't be sold in a region due to their regulations, so be it. We also have a response from MX Linux. While we wait on a court challenges to see if there is these laws apply to non-commercial open source operating systems and applications, let me assure users that no one on the team at MX wants to implement something like age verification. And last but not least, we have Fedora that says, so now it's a matter of hopefully just adopting a standard API. Probably Apple's API, so all Linux OSs can expose a standard parental controls that meets legislated expectations. It's not about being clever. This is standardization process with legalization as a forcing function. So Fedora is with the legislation, and a lot of smaller Linux distributions are against it. So we still have this communication back and forth and different opinions. We also have a new Nvidia driver that has been released with a lot of different kernel fixes. So the Linux 64-bit driver has a stable update that addresses regressions, kernel crashes, and display issues on both X11 and Wayland. And they also have added a fallback system for memory in low video memory situations, reducing desktop freezers, which would be really great because I end up sometimes running a local model when I'm playing a game, and that is not great. So if they have some kind of fallback to handle those kind of situations so my desktop doesn't freeze, that would be great. We also have an update of the LibreOffice, and it had more than 100 bug fixes, and I think there were a lot of small changes and so on. I'm not sure if 100 is the correct verb there. Perhaps 100 fixes, but I'm not sure that all of them were bugs. But they are fixed more bug fixes to address various issues, crashes, and other annoyances. Improvements, which is this improvement I really like because they improve that they are more accurate when it comes to PDF exports, including corrections to PDF-A/A-1 and PDF/UA-2 output. And these are these kind of archiving formats where you are required to give out all the Unicode information, and you are required to have the full fonts exported and so on. So the PDFs becomes a little larger, but for archiving purposes, having all the information in the PDF is very important. And we also have the Document Foundation is adding a donation banner to the LibreOffice Start Center. So it will greet you when you recently open the document and when you are first launching the application. And of course, it's not free to implement these kind of changes and keeping this project going. So having a donation link is fairly common, I think. I don't think that there is something that is controversial with that. You could always choose to just ignore it. But if you want to support open source, I think a donation is in order. Next up, we have Creta, which is version 5.3 and 6.0 have been released. So in 6.0, they have completely revamped how they are using or handling text objects and also the different tools to work with text. They have introduced a new colors propagation and overlay mask filters. They have improved JPEG XL support. They have added support for Python plugins, new Python plugins. And they have also added this liquify transform tool that is much faster now. And in Wayland, color management protocol will be enabling HDR painting and 10-bit colors and also fractional scaling. So if you're using Wayland, Creta got a lot better. And next up, we have Ubuntu that has done a change that I like, and I think that should have gone even further. I don't like the snap system at all. I would not like to use it at all. I'm thinking about switching away from Ubuntu just because I'm really annoyed by the snap system. But now they have added to their App Center so they can display both Debian packages and deb packages and snaps, so you can choose which to install and also which are installed. So that's an improvement, of course. And there is no secret that Canonical, the Ubuntu's parent company, still prefers the snap packaging, and they are not adding a lot of it. They think that it adds a lot of extra features, and they really want you to use it. But it's also a sandbox that you really can't escape from or can't run some applications in because they are so limited. And I think the biggest hostile thing is when you install a deb package and they choose to have that as just a thin wrapper against a snap. That's the biggest annoyance for me. It would be fine if I didn't have the Debian package option, or if they told me that we will install a snap now, are you okay with that, or something like that. But just installing a snap when I didn't ask for it is not okay. We have another Canonical news here. So they are trying to update the grub interface for secure boot. So they will remove features and add features in order to get it more secure. So when you're using secure boot, they will reduce the feature set all over. They will also remove a lot of features for disk encryption and LVM, most RAID modes, SZFS, BTRFS, and other various file systems and image parsing capabilities. So they will remove support from any image formats such as PNG and JPEG when you have signed grub builds. And this is, of course, all for security's sake. So if you want to run the secure boot grub version, I think an ext4, ext3 partition would be the safe option for just the boot partition. And then when you are in your own file system and booting the whole system, that's a different thing. So this is just for the boot partition and for the startup process. And they want to make it more secure. And last but not least, when it comes to Ubuntu news, we have the Ubuntu Maker. Canonical is backing Rust development, which is really nice. So they are giving away about $150K, and they do that yearly, and send that to the Rust programming organization. So there's an organization that handles this, the Rust Foundation, and they have been pushing Rust into all the different things of Ubuntu. So the Ubuntu core is running on Rust mostly now. And we have a comment from Dr. Rebecca Ramboul, the Executive Director and CEO of the Rust Foundation. Rust has become a foundational technology for building safe and reliable systems, and continuous success depending on a strong collaboration between open source communities and the organizations bringing it into production. Canonical joining the Rust Foundation as a gold member is an important signal of Rust's growing role in a large-scale systems. So I think this is just great. I have written some Rust, but I would like to learn even more. I think it's a great language, and having things written in Rust is probably the way forward for a lot of things. There is some applications that still needs pure C or even assembly, but most things that are a little bit higher level should be written in Rust for ultimate performance. And last news for today, we have Grafana Lukey, the log aggregation system that I have been using in Ceph. So you can set up Lukey together with Grafana, and we also had this Promtail before that fetched information from different log systems. You aggregated it in Lukey, and then you used Grafana in order to display the graphs and so on. So what they have improved now is a core component such as the distributor, the compactor, the ingester, and the query path. So all of those have been improved. The new query engine now calculates a scheduler capacity differently. We also have shared worker threads that across different connections. And this Promtail agent that I was talking about is now deprecated. So they will use an integrated Grafana Alloy instead, an open source observability data collector. So they have gone from Promtail and going over to Grafana Alloy instead. So this was the news for week 13 of 2026. I hope that you found this interesting. I hope that you learned something today. If you like this video, give it a like, share it with your friends and colleagues. If you have any comments or suggestions, leave those in the comment section down below. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that, and I really hope to see you in the next one.